Hello, all. Welcome to another edition of King's Mail Call. Let me just go through these real quick. For the Atari 7800, one-on-one, Dr. J versus Larry Bird. Bird. Bird, bird, bird. Bird is the bird. Mattel Networks Astroblast for the Atari 2600 with manual. Yesterday, my dad came down and he cleaned up. Went to Home Depot. So next week, he said about coming down, starting to redo the shelf, put the shelf back up, and fix the damage done to the kitchen table. And I got Star Raiders for the 5200. So 3 Atari games for 3 different Atari systems today. And I got a, here, catalog for Hot Topic, which they're sort of a joke because they give you bucks that you could barely use at anything on there. I had like 15 to 30. I think it was like actually more. I think it was closer to $30 of Hot Topic cash from buying Funko's on their site, and I bought a T-shirt. My daughter bought a couple T-shirts from, like, I think My Hero Academia or whatever else she's into now, and went to their site, and I wanted to use the cash. Couldn't use it on nothing. That's exempt. This is exempt. This is exempt. I'm like, so basically my cash expired. I'm like, it's crazy. Why offer cash when you can't use it? You limit almost everything because everything your stuff has some kind of copyright in front of you. So anything copyrighted, I'm like, whatever. And their prices really ain't. I don't like half the stuff I see. This is just gonna get chucked. Yeah. Yeah, here's 30% off in stores. Use this coupon and $30 off a $75 purchase. I'll probably try to use them and watch, but they give you a code, so maybe I'll look to see what the hell they got. But yeah, yesterday we dry locked. I cleaned up all the mold because we were getting water. The spout over on the one side of the house was dry rotted and broke through, so the water wasn't getting away from the house. It was actually settling and going down. So I got water in the corner, which created mold. So yesterday, thank God I had dry lock from when I did the wall. I bought 3 cans of it. I used 2.5. So yesterday I finished. When Dad got done, we went to Home Depot, spent $100 and some for brackets and dowels and a big piece of wood because I'm going to change the shelf around to where it actually has a corner piece so I can actually see the wall back there to judge in case I'm getting moisture. I got to get my radiators on that wall checked too because this past winter they didn't work. So I was like, what's wrong? Had them put in. So I'm like wondering what's going on because I am not. I can do some stuff, but there's some stuff I have no, like, see, I don't know what kind of wire you run for a radiator and how many radiators you can have hooked to a thermostat. Because right now I have 3 baseboard radiators, 2 on the wall by where I have my uh, corner German kitchen table set where I used to do some of my videos. And then I have another radiator that was when I originally moved here. There was 3 radiators in the basement, and two of them were rusted out beyond like they were a wreck. So I chucked them and I bought two. I bought two other bigger ones, longer ones. So I figured the far wall. I ain't using the fireplace. The fireplace is just ornamental, basically down there. But I wanted to get put the heat down. I would love to get central air and central heat in this house, but it's not going to happen. I had a guy come a couple years back, and I told him what I wanted, and he's like, "Oh, I can do that." But then, as he goes, "No, I don't want to do that. It's too much." I'm like, "Well, if I'm paying for it, you should do what the customer wants." I never bothered getting him back after he told me, because I wanted to actually have the central air, and I was since there's a gap like this between, he can run the thing. He wanted to run it above my flooring up in the attic, and I'm like, nope. I use my attic, so therefore I want a flat floor. Well, I never bothered with him because I even asked some people because the duct. He even told me the size of the ductwork. It's only about like that big, and I had like that much space, so it only would have took up like half the and it would have fit between boards too, to go across. Because he could have ran it, since my attic has the eaves section that I don't use really, and it goes up like that. It's the height of a little bit of, it's like two comic book box size high on both sides, so they can run the ductwork on both sides of the house and actually have it come down under the floor to the other side. That's how I wanted it done. The guy was like, "Oh, I can do it." Then I was like, "No, no, no," and I'm like, "Whatever." But there's like, I always tell my wife, I go, down the road, this house is going to get remodeled. I'm going to add on, take the roof off, put in a barn type roof above this house. So my attic will be walkable, and I can put stuff up there. I can take my curio cabinet from the basement, actually both curio cabinets from the basement, and create more room down in the basement so I can actually get some of the stuff I want to get for my game room. Long long aspect is if I'm still alive, if I outlast because I keep my dad and me always have this joke going because how much stress in my life and how bad my health is with the back, getting cholesterol problems, high blood pressure, sugar. Me and my dad, I always tell him, even though he just had open heart surgery, I tell him I'm going to end up having a stroke or a heart attack, and I'm going to be dead before him. And he goes, I don't doubt it, because nobody here wants to help me. So I told him, I said, but if he passes away before me, because he's always worried about what I'm going to do, and every time he comes here, he's like, well, when you get my money from when I die, you're going to do this. And I love it because he wants me to add on to the house, and add on a big lot. He wants me to add so I can have a store. And it's funny because the way me and him discussed it the one time. Now my house is technically 3 floors: a basement, floor, and then an attic. So I live in a ranch. I live in a ranch style house. My dad wants me to add, and I also live on a bizarre type hill. The front goes right to the street, but then I have a hill going down, and I own two acres, and my property line is sort of like a bizarre looking pentagram. It's 5-sided. I have 5 property lines, not 4. I'm not square. I'm pentagrammal. Right? So he wants me to add out going that way, which it's easily doable. But as I go out straight, the house goes down so I'll end up having an extra floor, which that's where he wants me to build a store. Because he said you could build a store, go take up the whole side of the house, right? The whole bottom floor will be your store. Add on a living room, 2 bedrooms, and I told him I want a master bedroom back. Cause I'm tired of my wife saying, she don't have enough room for her stuff, which she owns, I think 70% of the bedrooms, dresser, and she owns half the closet, and about 70% of the dresser space. So I said to my dad, I said, yeah, I'll get a master bedroom with a master bath. But the attic and the storefront down the road is what, if I'm alive, it'll happen. because my dad is hell bent on having me have a store when he passes. I mean, it's it's funny. My wife goes, "You and your father are morbid." I go, "No, my dad knows I can't afford it any other way, because every dime I get, I put into my collection, and that's just what I'm end up doing. Because if you own your store, you can't be a collector and a dealer. It really is not. It ain't bad if you can get stuff cheap, and then you can aim to keep. But if you have to pay more money in order to turn around a profit, it's not good. You can't. In this business standpoint, anything that sits on the shelf is a waste. If you ever took business classes, the thing is turnaround. What you order has to, as soon as you get it, it's got to go out. It's fast turnaround. That's the way you make money. That's the way you stay in business. That's why you see like card shops, comic book shops, all this stuff. They all go out of business because they don't turn the stuff around. People see, okay, I have a $1,000 book, I paid $200 for it, because you figure they have rent, overhaul, and that. If you own your own place, that cuts down and stuff. But you still have bills. You still have needs to make. You still have payments. Because if you're a small business owner and you're in your own business and you don't have any kind of medical insurance, you have to pay your own medical, and that's expensive. In fact, when I talked to him when my dad was down here yesterday, me and him were talking about reinstating my tax number, and because I should have just never let it expire. I should have just kept it, because all the stuff I've been buying, I could have been tax exempt. Just put it down for stock. I mean, just like all these Atari games I'm picking up. If I ever do open up a store, if it's in my collection, I would want. See, that's the thing about my seriously, because I'm a collector first. That's the problem. If you're a collector, of course, in order to part with something, you don't want to just sell it but you want to be able, because if I sell the thing, I want to be able to replace it. That's why, like, now I have a ton of Atari 2600 games out in the garage, and I have most of them. No doubles complete of Atari 2600 games, but I have a lot of them with the cartridge and manual, because I've been buying lots of manuals, because I think it's crazy, because believe it or not, sometimes the manual is actually more expensive than the game. And I have actually some manuals that don't even have the games for yet. I have Snoopy versus the Red Baron for the 2600. I have the manual, but not the game. I got a lot of games without manuals, and I have some manuals that don't have the games. So it's funny. But this, when I'll go downstairs, this will be complete. I'll have the box, the manual, and the cartridge. So that's finished. I know, Rick, if you watch my videos, I hope your store, hope everything works out. We discuss it on Facebook. The biggest thing is space. Like when I was running my collectible shop out of my garage. Now, I'd sell my double comics. Back then, I was selling for 50 cents each, believe it or not, because I was buying them 10 for $10. I was getting them for a dime. And I was buying them off of eBay. I was buying like long boxes at a time pop back then. This is going back like 92. So yeah, you're looking at 20 years ago. So I was buying the stuff back then, and nowadays it's very hard to do the turnaround. Like I went to the flea market the other day, and the one lady there, we were discussing it. She runs her shop out of her house, and she has one room. She says that she lives in an apartment, and she says my room is stacked full. She goes, I have boxes upon boxes. I said, I can believe it. I said, I have an attic filled with comic books, a basement filled with cards and video games and movies. I have a garage filled with all my doubles, and the attic above the garage is filled with boxes of unopened, my toys from when I was a kid, and unopened boxes of toys I collected. The thing that drives me insane is the reissuing of old toys, like the Transformers, or the reissue of the 25th anniversary G.I. Joe. It's like, I can't see paying the money for like the Ghostbuster figures. I have the original Ghostbusters, and they come out, and I'm like, I paid less for mine when they first came out. But I just don't understand the thing is because when you go, just like I said, I'm always bitching about the toy stores. Well, I'm gonna have to go because I'm gonna have to find out the phone and check out these games. But as always, I thank you guys for viewing and subscribing. King Joe out.